Welcome to BW Businessworld and to the Indian Business Literature Festival, IBLF, where business meets wisdom. Today I have with me Mr. Vaibhav Dange, who has written the book Building Bridges, Shaping the Future. Thank you for joining me today, Mr. Dange. I think the first thing we absolutely have to ask you, where did the inspiration for writing this book came from? I imagine you come across many stories, but what made this one stand out that you wanted to explore more and write an entire book for?
In fact, as the book suggests, it's about bridges. So the whole idea came, we have seen recently we had a bridge tragedy where in Morbi, Gujarat, and so many human lives we have lost. So we had, when I was working in the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways, I had one such experience in 2015 where a bridge tragedy has so many lives lost. It was a severe human tragedy, and we were looking at how do we bring in some systems which can help us stop that, if not completely, at least reduce the impact it can be on the people. And that's how we created that Indian bridge management system in the ministry. So the whole idea to write the book came from the experiences we had gained in building that bridge management system. And we thought it's a very good experience to share with our fellow colleagues, our budding engineers, budding officers, budding politicians, and for that matter everybody in general. Because there is always a cynicism in our country that things doesn't happen, things doesn't get delivered. So can we probably try to share that one positive experience with people where with some efforts things can change, things have changed, things can be done for better. So I think that was the whole idea of sharing that experience. So writing the book was more about sharing that experience. Of course, to make it more interesting and readable, we kept the storytelling format so that because bridge infrastructure is a bit dry subject, and to keep that interest alive, we thought let's keep it more of a story format. So that was the whole idea.
Yeah, and I also like the symbolism that it kind of creates. So you're talking literally about a bridge, but also it's about this knowledge information and spreading this information. And you make a good point here that when we have a lot of tragedies like this, not just in India but around the world. True. And it comes from like people knowing their part of the job but not really seeing the bigger picture. And right now there's so much talk about making education holistic in that way. So what do you think needs to be kind of added to ensure that we can, not just books like this, but in the education format to kind of prevent situations like this happening?
I think precisely these kind of experiences will help people open up their thought processes. I think the biggest aspect in ensuring that we don't have this kind of tragedies is trying to help people open up their thought processes. For example, there is a best of the technology available in this country, best of the methodology available in this country, best of the materials available in this country. Then why can't we be better than probably somebody else is, or other countries are, or developed nations are? So I think it is the difference of that, the approach and attitude. So I think that is something which we can share through these experiences, and no learning can be better than the experiences. So I think the whole idea of not only our experiences, but we need to bring in those element of actual sharing of experiences in education, and probably the whole idea of new education policy also tries to emphasize that and bring in the element of informal and the practical sharing of experiences, interactions, understanding, so that the whole idea of education is not to give skill. The whole idea of education to equip your mind to with the right approach and right thought process, so that you use your knowledge, you use your experiences and try to do better. And I think the young generation in this country has proven that so many startups, so many technology innovations that are happening are precisely the experiences from where people have understood the problem and tried to bring in some solution to that problem.
Absolutely, and hearing about experiences can be a very big learning for a lot of people.
Great learning. Yeah.
Is there anyone whose experience from you, like you learned from, any book or any author who's inspired you?
Yeah, in fact, I was sharing in my session, in the conversation, they asked me, why did you chose to a format of storytelling for the book? I said, when I was learning, we used to read Arthur Haley. And Arthur Haley writes, in fact, his books are management experiences. They are the greatest management learning books one can read. And the way he narrates this story in a very simple, story form, but you start learning management and experience. For example, when you read a book, you read his airport and you feel that you are in the airport and you understand the whole functioning of airport. When you read his banking novel, you feel that you are actually into the bank and understand the whole functioning of bank. So I think the storytelling is a very powerful way of understanding. So in my early education days, when I have read his books, I think that has a great influence on my and in fact that has helped me decide that I'll write the book in a storytelling format.
Yeah. All right. Can we expect to hear anything else from you? Any other kinds of books?
Definitely. The positive response and a great kind of encouragement everyone has given us. So I am definitely looking at coming up with one more book. But apart from that, I am also coming up with a series on Discovery TV on sharing how infrastructure is changing the India's landscape. So I think that's another medium which I'm trying to use for a storytelling.
That's very interesting, and we definitely look forward to seeing that. Just one more question. Obviously people are going to read this and take different things out of the book, but if they could only take maybe one or two things away from it, what would you want that to be? What kind of sentiment do you want them to be left with?
I think the whole idea of sharing experience was to suggest people that we must believe that things can be changed. The cynicism in this country about educated people at high places, that things can't change in our country, ये नहीं हो सकता, things cannot happen in our country, is something which I think is not acceptable to our generation and a younger generation. So I think if people from these experiences believe that things can be changed, what you need to do is believe in what you are doing, be passionate about what you are doing, and ensure that I will make it sure that it happens. So I think things can change. If that message people can carry, I think I'll be more than happy to have that.
Absolutely, things can change, and they are changing. And thank you so much for joining me today
and
coming to our festival today. And we hope to hear more from you and more about you in the coming days. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
BW Businessworld, Mr. Batra and his entire team for inviting me at IBLF, and many congratulations and appreciation too. Thank you so much.